The Ever So Lean podcast.
Extra!
You know it makes sense.
Welcome to Ever So Lean Extra, where we serve up an extra dose of excellence. I'm Matt Sims, and I'll be your host as we dive deep into the heart of the UK Excellence Awards. In Season 1, we're immersing ourselves in the prestigious British Quality Foundation as we look inside the UK Excellence Awards, an event that epitomises innovation, quality and sheer excellence on a monumental scale. Imagine a platform where industry leaders, influencers and visionaries converge to celebrate the pinnacle of achievement in business. But we're not just spectators, we're rolling up our sleeves and diving headfirst into each award category. From the judges who meticulously study every submission to the sponsors who lend their support, from the finalists who embody excellence to the winners who stand triumphant. We'll hear from them all. Why do they get involved and what secrets do they hold for achieving excellence? It's all here on Ever So Lean Extra as we uncover the stories behind the glitz and glamour, delving deep into the minds of those who make this event truly spectacular. Picture this, Wembley Stadium, Thursday the 27th of March 2025, because that's where we're heading for the next awards. The UK Excellence Awards are the Oscars of the business world, a star-studded affair buzzing with innovation and inspiration. It's where brilliance meets recognition, where hard work meets its well-deserved spotlight. Ever So Lean Extra is your inside scoop to the most prestigious event in the business calendar. Welcome to Ever So Lean Extra, where excellence really does take centre stage. In this episode, we shine a bright spotlight on excellence in continuous improvement culture, inviting you to join us for a lively and insightful discussion with the individuals who hold the keys to this prestigious arena. From the meticulous criteria they use to evaluate potential winners to the cutting-edge trends shaping the future of continuous improvement culture, every moment promises to be an enlightening and enriching experience. It's a true feast for the mind as we sit down with two esteemed judges in this category, Carla Thomas from Openreach and Martin Brennig-Jones from Catalyst Consulting. These discerning professionals were part of a judging panel faced with the formidable task of selecting a 2023 winner from a pool of remarkably strong contenders. So challenging was their decision that they chose to honour two organisations, Cooper Vision and Smiths, each embodying excellence in continuous improvement culture through unique approaches. But before we delve into the fascinating journeys of our co-winners, we'll also hear from one of the finalists as well, which is Tesco, where Laura McLaren will tell us all about their journey as well. But before then, every award deserves an equally exceptional sponsor. Enter PMI, the proud sponsor not only of the 2023 award, but also the forthcoming 2025 accolade. In an exclusive interview, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Susanna Clark from PMI to uncover their story of sponsoring excellence in improvement culture.
The Ever So Lean podcast.
Extra!
You know it makes sense.
So tell us a little bit about why you sponsor this particular category and what makes it so important to you.
So we're performance improvement consultants, okay? And I guess really when you think about performance improvement, it's important to understand there are two primary approaches. One is what we would call step change improvement. I've got a process, I don't like how it performs. I don't like it because it goes wrong a lot. I get a lot of errors. It costs me a lot of money, etc. A number of reasons why that might be the case. And therefore, I want to do a step change in how that operates. And you would focus a team to work on that and create that improvement. And then everyone would go, thank goodness, we've achieved that. Marvelous new results. Fantastic. But of course, improvement doesn't end there. And that's where the second piece really comes in, because whether you're doing that sort of step change improvement and then need to go on and make sure you maintain the gains that you've achieved, or whether you need to look wider than just the step change, then you're starting to talk about, well, that's now continuous improvement, isn't it? And we need a system for that. That's one reason. The second reason is, in all honesty, this is the question I'm asked the most. People say to me, how do I establish a culture of continuous improvement? That's what they want to know. And so for us, this was an absolute great That's the one then, because it's important both for the first reason, but also to answer that second question.
Yeah.
This is how you go about it. This is what you need to do. And that's why it's really important. It's what everybody fundamentally is looking to achieve in their business. They may not use those words.
Yep.
They may not articulate it as continuous improvement, but that's what they want, really, is to keep getting better.
It's interesting because I think you're right. They don't sometimes realise that's what it is.
Yeah.
And they will use different words and sort of skirt around it. And you'll go, what you want is continuous improvement. And then they go, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Understanding that really, in order to get that, you've got to look at your processes.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes if an organisation is not very mature in its process thinking, then it focuses continuous improvement on its people, get the people to work better, get the people to work differently, get the people to do this, do that. Great. There is an element to that. We do need people to work differently, but you can't do that on its own in isolation. The processes are rotten.
Yeah, that's a good
then
word. Good choice.
no matter how hard the person works, they're going to be working with a rotten process.
Yeah.
We've got to get those processes smart so that they're delivering every time. And then it just also releases all that latent talent from having to deal with all the errors and mistakes and the problems that those rotten processes produce.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could just bottle a continuous improvement culture and then sell it off the shelf? Could you imagine? Because so often I get asked that. Can we just do it quickly? Can you just do it in a week?
There is, I think it's one of the difficult pills to swallow about continuous improvement, that there's no magic wand. You can't wave something, you can't bottle it. But I mean, I think when people start to really talk to you about it, they also get you can't get fit in a week.
Yeah.
Yes, you can't change your eating habits in a week. There are so many things. You can't learn martial arts in a week.
Yeah.
You have to keep going at it. And that's what continuous improvement is. It is also, in its name, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It keeps going. And it's about how do you generate all of that enthusiasm and motivation to keep it going.
Yeah, that energy, that passion.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, completely agree. So what are some of the trends that you're seeing in this area then as you're sort of PMIing around?
So I think, when I think about continuous improvement in particular, I think there's been a realization that it doesn't have to be big bangs. It actually, huge gains can be made if what you've got is a system of people who are continuously doing incremental small improvements. And you add those up over a period of time. And, as a village working together, we can create huge change and huge results. Doesn't have to be that huge, enormous project or big number at the end of that you're looking at. If you work hard every day at making small incremental changes and improvements, you've got a method for it, and you can sustain that, then that's what I see many organizations are really thinking about. And, if I take one of the award winners from 2023, so Cooper Vision, that was exactly their method. Yes, small incremental changes, ongoing forever. And it comes back to that change in thinking for me, which is around, if we do the work every day and we improve the work every day, and it's everyone's job to do that every day, then it becomes natural. Yeah. When it comes natural, then we just naturally grow and improve, and life is good.
Yes.
Things get better.
Do you know, I had a conversation once with Dr. Jeffrey Leica. Have you heard of Jeffrey Leica?
Yeah.
He's like the godfather from Toyota. And I asked him a question about, what is the Toyota way? How do they refer to it within Toyota internally? And he said to me, they don't. It's just the way they do the work. It's just the way we do it. And that's the ultimate holy grail, isn't it?
Completely. And, when we're working with clients on, making changes, and let's say we're running a training event, and let's say we've got the opportunity to do that on site at a customer, so often we're building in. So now, let's go to where the work is done and look at what's actually happening. So really bringing that into, this is not just done in a war room with lots of, Post-its on the wall. Of course, that needs to happen. But if you only do it there, you're not going to really see what's happening where
Yeah.
the work is done. So build that into your daily rhythms, into your habits, that you go and see how people are working, what they think about what they're doing, what's difficult for them. And that's what Toyota did
Yeah.
and continue to do.
Yeah.
And it's really key. And I think you've got to have those habits built in order to get that continuous improvement.
A couple of the organisations that I've spoken to, when I've asked them why they entered the awards, they always say to me, well, we actually did some work with PMI and they recommended that what we've done is that good and we entered because of them. So it must be really proud moment for you to actually have people you've worked with enter the awards and in some cases not only just make the finals but actually win them as well.
Huge. I mean, 2023 was absolutely, fabulous from that perspective. I think we had 5 clients enter. We had 4 clients get to the finals, and 3 clients win their
It's
category. I
amazing.
mean, it was incredible and
Yeah.
joyful. I mean, truly joyful, because if you can't celebrate what you've achieved, you're missing a trick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every client said, even going through the process of entering helped them remember what it was they'd
Yes.
achieved, remember what they did do, and to celebrate that amongst themselves. And then to bring those teams into the awards and to be so successful, reach the final, and in many cases go on to win. It's such a celebration. It's wonderful because, and that comes back to that. How do we keep the momentum going? And I'm not
Mm.
saying everybody's got to go to big award ceremonies all the time, but they need those celebrations. We need that acknowledgement amongst us
Yeah.
of saying we've done well. We've done really well here.
Yeah, and we're not great as human beings at doing that. We very quickly, if we fail, we dwell on it and we think about it and we dissect it. If we do something really well, we go, "Oh, well done," and then we move on.
Yes.
We don't, do we?
Yes.
We don't
Yes.
take that moment to go, "Do you know what? We've achieved something magical here. Well done to everybody."
And the dissecting, I think, is the interesting bit, because as much as you would dissect a failure, you should dissect a win,
Yeah.
a success, because then you can repeat it.
Yes.
Then you can say, these were the really good things. They worked really, really well. Let's do more of that. That bit, that wasn't so good, was it? I mean, because there'll always, even if they've been successful, there'll always been things along the way that they learned or that didn't go quite so well. Okay, well, let's understand why that didn't go so well. Maybe it's appropriate in the future, but actually maybe we might just not do that anymore.
Yeah.
And we focus on the things that work really well, that we are learning all the time.
Yes.
Because this is about learning, isn't it? Continuous improvement is about learning how our work works.
Yeah.
Yeah, learning about it every day and sharing the learning.
That's what's great about doing an awards entry, is it does force you to sit down and build that story and reflect on what you did, and you automatically find actually that bit didn't go quite as well and we could have done this, next time we'll do that, and it allows you that moment, doesn't it? It's very useful. And last question before I let you crack on with your day job. Why do you choose to support the UK Excellence Awards specifically? What is it about them that brings you back?
So the BQF obviously is a huge is a huge part of why. I don't think you can separate the two for me.
No.
So the BQF community, the support that the members and the BQF team give to its members, all in the spirit of creating a successful environment where the work is great, where people succeed, where results are achieved, is such an amazing community. And it's full of life and full of, optimism and full of support. And I think the fact that it's such a supportive environment that's channeling towards really great outcomes for people and for organizations makes the Excellence Award is that pinnacle of celebration of what's being achieved. And that's really the heart of it. And we're tremendously proud to be members and partners of the BQF. And so being able to support the Excellence Awards, and the clients that have entered have had such a great experience through it. As I said, a bit earlier, that this is something that they want to go on and do again, and that we want to introduce other clients to get that experience, and then to feel how they can join that community, that BQF community, and be supported and go to great days like you and I were at last week at the
Yeah.
Excellence Day. Fabulous. I met
Yeah,
some
it's
great
brilliant.
people there, really super inspirational people. And it's an organization that I think is rare, and therefore we're really keen to support it in terms of what it stands for.
Absolutely brilliant conversation with Susanna. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and share your story. If you're interested in sponsoring an award at the 2025 UK Excellence Awards at Wembley Stadium, there's only a few rewards left that need sponsorship. Find out more at bqf.org.uk. Get on there, have a little look. What's available? Do your values match those values? If they do, get in there and get sponsoring. It's a great opportunity to showcase your brand with excellence. Right, let's head over to one of the finalists in this category. Let's speak to Laura McLaren from Tesco. Hello, Laura.
Hi, Matt. How you doing?
Very good. Thanks so much for joining us today. I know you're super busy. So being a finalist in excellence in CI culture is quite an achievement. That bar was really high. Tell us a little bit about your journey in that space.
Yeah, if you look at Tesco and you look at Tesco Group's core purpose, it's about serving customers, communities and planets a little better every day. So even out with the realm of continuous improvement, in our stores, in our distribution centres, in our contact centres, everybody, it's within their DNA to always be putting the customer at the heart of everything they do and always be thinking that way about how can I make things better for customers? How can I make things better as a colleague? We're really big on inclusion as well. So if Tesco is a place where everybody's welcome, how do we really make it feel that way every day in work? So we're starting from a really solid foundation before you even start to think about rolling out CI programs or teaching people about Lean Six Sigma, because that mindset and culture is very much already ingrained. So Tesco Business Solutions, where I work and look after all things process architecture, continuous improvement and value stream across 4 of our hubs globally, when we kicked off this piece around wanting to roll out a continuous improvement program and getting our colleagues on board, doing some training, teaching them some really simple but effective tools like performance dialogues and huddles and, encouraging team-based problem solving, it felt really natural and people were really enthusiastic about it, because actually what we saw was we were starting to equip people with tools and techniques and routines that they were desperate for, because they wanted to make fixes and they wanted to work together in doing that. But it was one of these things where it's, well, where do I start and how do I give it a bit of structure? And how do I measure that actually has improved things for customers or improved things for colleagues? So yeah, we started off 2018, and a colleague of mine, Ronak Rowell, he started this all by kicking off with our teams in Bangalore. If you fast forward kind of 6 years into 2024, we've covered around 5,000 colleagues globally in CI. So we've got continuous improvement culture kind of rolling in all of our hubs. Different levels of maturity, right? So Bangalore have been doing this for quite a long time. You see that as kind of our most mature site. We've just had a site in Waterford being stood up. So we 2 paid colleagues over from Tech Mahindra and got a contact centre there that looks after retail and mobile customers. And they're just starting on their CI journey. So it's been a real evolution. But what's really nice is it's kind of never ending. So covered all those colleagues. Of those colleagues, we've got about 3,000 that we've actually trained in Lean Six Sigma change management. And you can go on site in any Tesco Business Solutions site and meet people who are doing this stuff in some shape or form every day.
Amazing.
And it's gotten to be so well embedded here that whenever we have visits from execs or other leaders from wider Tesco Group, they're saying, well, how do we get a bit of this? How do we get this into stores and distribution centres? How do we get this into head office? So yeah, it's really brilliant to see our colleagues embrace this stuff and use it to drive value every day.
That's incredible. The hardest part is always getting that flywheel spinning, but it sounds like you've got the momentum going. And what I really like as well, actually, is where they're all at different parts of their journey. They're probably able to talk to each other and see what it looks like a bit further down the line and share stories.
Yeah, so that's been a big piece for us about how do you build communities. If you look at Bangalore as an example, in Bangalore alone, you've got about 3,000 colleagues, 3,500 colleagues, lots of different functions: finance, customer and product, property, contact center. So even within Bangalore, you can build a community where lots of people from different roles and different functions can come together and share things, more so about how they've approached things rather than actual best practice sharing that you can implement the same idea in a different place. But if you raise that up, you've got a hub in Budapest, a hub in Bangalore, a hub in Dundee, where I'm sitting right now, and a hub in Waterford. And actually, you've got a customer and product team in Bangalore and a customer and product team in Budapest. And when you look at the community there, what they are doing is saying, well, actually, if we look at supplier experience and how we enable that for Tesco in UK and ROI, you could help enable that for Tesco in Central Europe in the Budapest hub by taking on board these best practices that we've implemented. And then you raise it up again, and if you look at, the CI practitioners in every hub, so where you've got experts who are actually doing CI manager roles or CI lead roles, they have their own community again. And they interact with the British Quality Foundation, they go do networking with lots of other organisations, and they bring that in, push that into their hub communities, and then push that into their functional communities. It's not perfect. We're still getting there because we've got a lot of people that we want to get on board with, but absolutely that is how we're starting to keep up that momentum and sustain and embed the culture.
How inspiring was that from Laura? Little did we know that there was so much going on behind the scenes at Tesco. I'm seeing them in a whole different new light now. Is that the phrase? I think it's something like that. And they really seem to understand what creating a culture of continuous improvement is like. I can see totally why they got through to the finals. And it just makes you realise how many other organisations out there are doing excellent things in this space, but we just don't even know about it. Right, on the subject of excellence, perhaps we should now talk to one of the judges. I sat down with Carla Thomas from Openreach and I asked Carla, what are some of the things that she learned from being on the judging panel? And what were some of the really interesting things that she saw from the applicants themselves?
I think one of the things that I really learn is I think of continuous improvement and I think of it through my lens, and I think of what we do in Openreach and what I've done in other roles. And what it was amazing to see is just the kind of the variation, really. Like some of the companies that were presenting had got really deep pockets and they were really wholeheartedly investing. And then others weren't investing as much from a kind of financial perspective, but the passion was kind of overwhelming and was getting enormous stuff done by virtue of just people wanting to do great stuff. And it was really, I came away from that day and it was a really exhausting day, by the way, the judging day. It was a warm day and it was really exhausting. And I came away from that day just realizing how passion, human passion, can perhaps negate the need for mass investment, like in some respects, right? So that was a big inspiration for me, I think, in the day. But just some of the things that the teams were doing. I mean, the global reach of Smiths, right, was just incredible. Just looking at I was in awe. I was absolutely in awe when I was looking at some of the stuff they're doing around the world. Just all of the entries were just having their own take and just continuously improving. Cooper Vision, that's where I really got an eye for the massive passion and just starting small and getting people on board and kind of changing a whole culture because of that human connection, humans talking to humans and getting others on board. So just an amazing day, an exhausting day, brilliant judging experience. And I learned so much. And some of it I've brought back to Openreach, just taking the kind of Cooper Vision example, because I haven't got deep pockets, right? I haven't got a massive budget. It's like saying to my own organisation, what are the 3 things that you would want to change? Because my job as a leader is to take those 3 things and make them happen where possible. So actually taking that human passion and making it real in Openreach.
I forgot how wonderful you are, Carla, and it's just coming
you
back
are
to me
lovely.
by the moment. Honestly, it's brilliant. Do you know what I love about that passion as well? Is that you can't buy it.
No, you
I
can't.
love that it's just so genuine and authentic, and it's brilliant. It's so brilliant.
Yeah, it's not a line on an Excel spreadsheet, is it?
No, exactly. And it's one of those things that when you're doing continuous improvement, you want passion more than anything, but you can't buy it. You can't go and pick it up off of a shelf.
Nope.
You can't import it. You've got to create it, and it's just there, isn't it? And without it, it's missing that key ingredient. It's like bread without yeast.
It is indeed. It won't rise.
Exactly. Oh, that's very good. That's a good bit of teamwork there. That was good. How amazing was Carla? She's absolutely brilliant. She's so full of energy and she speaks with such wisdom. Now, she wasn't the only one on the judging panel. There was many of them, but I couldn't speak to everybody because this would have gone on for absolutely forever. But I did talk to Martin Brennig-Jones. Here's what he had to say.
When you get these organisations, they apply for the award and you read through the applications. And obviously then you go through the kind of, the process and they come to life. They really come to life. What happens with some organizations who've really got this stuff sorted, they've been doing it for some time and it becomes really deeply embedded into the culture of the organization. Now, it's hard to describe that in words. You've got to go and see it. So one of the things I really like is that, some of the organizations who've been winners of this category, particularly, with the BQF, you can go on visits and meet them and find out and learn from the winners. I think this happened recently with Cooper Vision, for example. I wasn't at that event, but I do know the organization. And, they've been doing this stuff for a long time and it's really deeply embedded almost into the DNA of the organization. And there are others as well. Yeah. But it's when you see that and you think, you can do this, what is good is we're kind of trying to get organizations to take on this approach. And you can see role model organizations, not just the people here, it's the whole organization have taken on this approach into their organization and they've embedded it and they've got the leadership on board. They've got the people working, on the day-to-day kind of nitty-gritty stuff on board. And it's all happening. And when you see it for real, you kind of believe it and you think, great. Because what I do, for a living really is to help organizations, I suppose, to try and kind of take on this approach, take on this kind of thinking. And sometimes they're not too sure at the start. But you can actually hold up these examples and say, well, look, this is what good looks like. This is the art of the possible. I find it quite inspirational, actually, when you see these ones that, that they've really done it proud and they can really do this CI stuff. And it's great. I love it.
It's also brilliant on those judging panels when it's not just like the CEO of the company that's on there presenting what they've done. You get such a breadth and depth of people that are on it. You get, some of the middle level managers, you get some of the more junior managers, you get the more senior leaders on there. They're all telling the story of how they've contributed. It's great to see.
Yeah, and they produce little videos as well, which again, great way to, I love that, to bring to life examples of what they're doing, talk to people on the shop floor or whatever in the offices and find out, what's that meant for you? How is it working? Very practical stuff as well, really practical kind of improvements that are making a difference. They're making it better for the employees, they're making it better for their customers, they're making it better for the organization generally, So, yeah, it's great to see it and to come to life, to see CI actually really embedded inside an organization in a deep way, in a deep cultural way. And it's great as a judge, you're looking for that and you're not quite sure whether you're going to see it. And you look at these applications, then bang, that looks interesting. And it comes to life. But then when you meet them.
Yeah, there it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really shines out.
It's like when I take my son fishing, we go like lake fishing for carp, and it's that moment when the float's just sort of sitting on top of the water, then suddenly it goes bang and it's gone. It's that moment of, wow, it's happening, it's actually happening. And you quickly get in there and try and reel the fish in. It's a bit like that, I find, with the judging panels, is you're waiting for that bomb to go off that ignites that, wow, look at what you've done. And then suddenly it just happens.
Yeah, it's hard to describe, isn't it? But, when you see it, you've got it. And, yeah, it's great. It's good working with the other judges. Well, I always like that because we always learn from each other.
Mm.
We always learn loads doing this, by the way.
Really interesting to hear what it's like from a judge's perspective at the UK Excellence Awards. So often you hear the winner's story or the finalist's story, but very rarely do you hear it from inside the mind of a judge. And trust me, I've been there. It's a very, very difficult decision because the bar is just so high. The entries are just so excellent. To pick somebody out who's excellent is very, very difficult. And as I said before, there were 2 winners this year because they found it so difficult to separate. And both have got very, very different methods that make them excellent in continuous improvement culture. First up, let's head over to Cooper Vision and Paul Hayward to find out exactly what went into their entry. Are you still reveling in your success?
Enjoying it, but it's grown arms and legs and it's now become a much bigger beast. It's gained a lot of ground. We're now rolling it out across all of UK manufacturing.
Wow. Oh, that's really good. Well, I want to hear some more about that. Tell us a little bit about why you entered this category itself and why the topic is important to you.
We entered it because we'd done a good piece for continuous improvement work. We worked with the teams. It was more the team totally took hold of it and ran with it. And I got pulled off to do some other work. And when I came back 3 or 4 months later, it's like I'd not even been away. It's still happened. It's still going on. It's self-perpetuating. And I thought,
Wow.
this is, we've got to that critical mass thing where, there's more people doing it than not doing it. So
Yeah. It says something, though, that's a surprise, isn't it? Because so often that doesn't happen.
the second you step away, that, even in Six Sigma, there's that Sigma shift. It goes back a bit. But this had really grown. The momentum was there. And we've entered the BQF Awards before, sometimes successful, sometimes not. But I thought, do you know what? This would be a fantastic way to recognise the work that those guys have done. Because we didn't offer cash rewards or benefits. We literally gave people free pens, and once we won the award, we gave them a drinks bottle as well. But it was, okay.
Empty.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Water's expensive. So we entered the awards as, okay, this would be recognition for the work that all these guys have done. And it wouldn't be us patting them on the back. This would be the BQF, acknowledging all the work we've done as a world-class piece of work. And it's like, that would be cool. And then when we did win, when we went to the awards, everyone, if you want to go, put your name in a hat. We're going to pull your names out of a hat. So we took operators, QA, technicians, technical operators, took a team leader, and we took one manager because she had the credit card.
She goes by default.
You're coming by default because you got to pay for it. But it was brilliant. And yeah, we all jumped on a minibus thing. We all went up there, all suited and booted. But it was really, really good. It was brilliant. I loved it. And one of the guys, never been to a formal event, went out, bought himself a tuxedo. And when they sent the invitation out to us, he came up to me and said, do I need to buy a black tie as well? I go, what are you on about? But he not, no, bow tie and the tuxedo, not you need a black tie.
It's deceiving.
Oh, right. Yeah. But it was brilliant, the fact that we took shop floor operators, etc., up there and that would never normally go there. We didn't take directors. We left them all behind.
That's special. That's really nice because you've really made it a different type of event as well then, because they're like, wow, like we get to do this. Tell us a little bit about your entry then. What did it consist of?
We'd come up with a sort of a holistic way of doing continuous improvement. So we'd brought together lean thinking and lean manufacturing principles. We'd brought in an ideas management method so we could come up with ideas and submit them and continuous improvement. And we introduced domaic problem solving. We introduced it and trained production operators at domaic problem solving and getting them to not come in and solve big corporate issues. It's like, okay, what one thing can you sort out? What's one problem that you have? And they go, well, this really annoys me. Okay, let's go and fix it. Okay, different people came up with different ideas. We had some people that they came up with problems. They came up with solutions to fix that problem. And then when you go, you've saved a phenomenal amount of money. And they go, yeah. But before that, it was really annoying me. Other word, but it's like that was really annoying. And now it's not. So yes, Cooper Vision got more contact lenses. We got better quality. We got less downtime. But the operators were making their working day better. They're making their working day easier and less stressful. So production were getting one thing, but Cooper Vision was getting the kickback that it was improving everything else at the same time.
Sometimes it's very easy to get sidetracked and go for the massive, cost saving exercises that are going to bring in loads of money. But it's so valuable to do what you've done there and go for some of the smaller, low hanging fruit just to win hearts and minds.
Some of our CI ideas saved nothing, but they just made their day easier. And we had categories which were like, cost saving, making Cooper Vision a safer place to be, health and safety, keeping our customers happy every day. That's our regulatory compliance and quality. And then we have it's just the right thing to do. Is it going to make money? No. Is it going to save money? No. But it's the right thing, so let's do it.
And that's what builds the culture. It's that mindset of doing it right. How did you find the process of entering the awards and then going through that process? Because it's quite a stringent process, isn't it?
Yeah, the filling the form in, you've got to submit it. It's only allowed to be a certain size or whatever. It's easy, but it takes a lot of thought because you say, I've got this, and they say, oh, you're allowed X number of slides or etc. And you think, oh, I've got twice that. How can I make this shorter? Because you don't want to miss anything and you don't want to not say this is really good, but how do I get it in? So yes, it does take a bit of thought and it does take a bit of time. And if you get through to the the panel judging, for some people that's way outside their comfort zone. And when we got to the panel interviews, we did the panel judging and there were 8 people in the room, but I was the only one that spoke because no one else. So right at the end, I just spun the laptop around and said, look, these are all the guys that have actually done most of the work. I didn't do a lot of stuff. I just enabled people to do it and sort of gave them the tools and assisted them. They did it. I just sort of let them do it or empowered them to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you've created the opportunity for them to be able to do it, that's how it should be, I think. Proper continuous improvement culture like what you've got there is done by the people that work in the work areas. You just enable those opportunities to come to life.
And it is, as you said earlier, it's the big things is you can have 100% of nothing every day.
Yeah.
Fantastic. When we get it, you'll love it. It'll be amazing, but we're never going to get it. These were, 500 little things, but you're going to get it within a day. And the payback on your investment is going to be, oh no, it's payback already. Some of our payback was instant because it didn't cost anything. People changed the process or the procedure. Changing that is just filling in a document change form, change of procedure, and you think, wow, okay, you're saving 7-figure numbers and all you've done is change a piece of paper and change the order.
Well, you're giving people confidence as well, aren't you? Because they're then thinking, wow, I can change the way that we do things. I have got that input. They don't feel like, oh, that's a manager's decision, not mine. You've created a culture where they're driving it.
If you're heavily regulated industry, and there's lots of them all over the world, you can fall in that mindset of like the sergeant major style, whereas don't do that, do this.
Dictator.
You must follow the procedure. You must, and you just start turning people's minds off and you turn their brain off and you've got 2,000 minions running around doing exactly what the document said. But it only takes one to go, why do we walk 500 yards to get something out of the fridge? Why don't we just bring the fridge and put it next to where we are? And you think, oh, didn't think about that.
It's so obvious.
It's turning that mind back on and coming away from the old sergeant major, command and conquer mindset and going towards the team mindset. Whereas you can, as a team, think for yourselves. And then you, at the end of it, you come up and you'll go to the team leader rather than go to the team leader and say, the line's down and here's a load of problems. You go to the team leader and said, you've been away, the line's running and this is what we did and why we did it. But the line's running.
Awesome.
And if you didn't like it, you can coach me. But the line's still running, still making good product.
I think you really have established a brilliant culture. And it sounds like you've done it in the right way as well, which is great to hear.
Cool. Thank you.
So we are back in the studio and I'm joined by Smith's finest. We've got Sarah Jane and we've got Tony Tierland. How are you doing, guys?
Great, Matt.
Hello.
Nice to be on your show.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. It's I love having you back. You've been on a few episodes now, haven't you? As little guest appearances, little cameos. So come on then, tell us a little bit about why you entered the Excellence in Continuous Improvement category. Why is this topic so important to you at Smiths then?
Obviously, what we did in Smiths is we relaunched our Smiths Excellence system very recently. And in the context of very recently re-entering and reinvigorating, getting CI embedded in the culture is our number one objective. So when we went for it, we went for the big one in our view when it comes to SES, and that is how to embed continuous improvement in the culture.
Sarah Jane, question for you then. So how did entering this category in the UK Excellence Awards help with the work that you were doing?
I think first and foremost, a BQF award is probably one of the most premier awards you can get when it comes to quality in Britain. And we'd been members for quite a while, so I think for about 4 or 5 years. So it's always been an aspiration of mine since we'd begun. So actually, having something like this external award as a bit of a milestone in our overall development, in our continuous improvement culture, actually really kind of is something that motivates and energizes us, because I really felt we were in such a strong position last year to enter this award. And then when you do enter the award, we connected with the team around the world. So it was brilliant to connect with the team around the world and to actually have our own internal comprehensive review of the whole of what we've done, the whole mental journey, how we live our values, how SES is a real guide of how we think, and also how we use our Smith's leadership behaviors to guide our actions. So it was kind of like self-inspiration, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely does. So give us an overview of what you did then and what really makes Smiths excellent in CI culture.
An overview of the actual presentation. It was really fun to actually be part of and to get creative with the team from literally around the world. We had someone from China, we had someone from in the sort of southern part of America, we had Sangeeta joining from our John Crane team. So it was really sort of really diverse and really fun. And of course, Tony was in there as well with us leading. So I just wanted to make sure that the presentation itself was really fun and creative. We stayed away from PowerPoint, used a really sort of fun interactive mural. So that's what we did with the award entry itself. And Tony, maybe you could talk to some of our results.
Yeah, so what we try to do with what Sarah just said is make an as good as possible reflection of what we try to achieve with the system. So it's a global system. We apply it to all our businesses worldwide. So we had global attendance, literally from China to the US on our BQF pitch. What we emphasized is that the tone is set from the top. So this is very much a program where we focus on leadership to make sure that we have a safe work environment for people to learn from mistakes. Leadership that helps prioritize. So what are the big priorities we need to work on? And leadership that organizes the required resources for continuous improvement projects to be successful. So that was a big focus. So how do we convey it's all about leadership, and how do we make sure by the way we present, not the way we talk, that the judges could see it was really a global rollout.
And I think you definitely managed that. Absolutely managed that. It was great. And it was also great on the night that you had such a vast team there to celebrate the success as well. It was really good. Really good.
Yeah, I can't remember much of that night.
That means it was
fill
good.
Me in later.
Yeah. We have some pictures to prove
he was
there.
terrible. He had his shirt around his head, swinging it around in the streets. You were, Tony. It was awful. Yeah. So embarrassing.
So I was told. Yeah.
Yeah, so you were told, yeah. Right, well, thank you both so much. Really appreciate it. I've got to ask you the question. Are you coming back next year to defend your crown?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Wembley Arena. I mean, where else?
There you go.
To be the champions, hey?
Yeah, you got to defend your trophy at Wembley.
We're already planning the attack strategies.
Oh, wow.
As we speak.
Brilliant.
In the continuous improvement, so continual winners.
You've set the benchmark, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do.
Big talk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome, Matt.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Everceline Extra. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of the UK Excellence Awards. To learn more about the UK Excellence Awards and what it means to be a BQF member, visit www.bqf.org.uk. Don't forget, you can catch more episodes of the Everceline podcast on all major platforms or at everceline.com. Whether you're seeking insights into leadership, continuous improvement, or simply looking to be inspired, we've got you covered. Until next time, stay excellent. Everceline Extra is researched, recorded and produced by Matt Sims. Visit everceline.com to find out more.
The Everceline podcast.
Extra!
You know it makes sense.